Today I'm going to talk to you about a condition that I have a lot of opposing views about. I'm going to speak to you today about ADHD. I will start first with the definition. ADHD stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactive Disorder. That's exactly what it is. It is a disorder. The disorder entails not being able to focus, very impulsive behaviors, and very overactive, or it could be a combination of all of them. For a very long time, and even still present today, there are many myths about ADHD. There are myths like ADHD is a fraud. It's an insurance company way to get it's the doctor's way to get money. It's insurance fraud with all the medications they make you go through because they determined to tell you that the medications do not work. You have to steady change medications. Then it become an insurance problem, and that the teachers are just trying to get an easier day of work, so they rather all the children be medicated as opposed to not, or that the child is watching too much TV. I do not agree with many of those things that I just mentioned, of course. I do not believe it is a fraud. It is a very complex thing that's going on in our children today. It is very prevalent. It is very present. And I believe that we as parents, if we have children like that, need to pay attention to it. When it comes down to the teachers just wanting to make their day easier work, so they rather the kids be medicated. For a very long time, I did believe that, but when you're wiser, you just know better. And as of today, right now, I can tell you, I do not believe that. I believe that what they're trying to do is actually help the child. But I believe that so many of them do it the wrong way, because what they do before it gets to the help point is that they actually medicate the child and then let you know about it. And that's really not the way it goes. That's not how the legal system works, and that's not what they should do. Dr. David Union of Harvard, the Department of Learning Disabilities and Behavior Neurology program at the Boston Children's Hospital, says that ADHD, again, as I mentioned earlier, it's a really complex cognitive phenomena, and that it has a lot of pieces in it. That lets you know right there that that's ADHD. It doesn't just stop at ADHD. There's a lot going on with ADHD. That I agree with. The second point I would like to debate, in 2002, there were many issues with the ADHD of children that were not diagnosed as far as the schools are concerned. And this is in situations where parents were actually told by the school board that their child needed to be medicated, and if they did not medicate their children and they send their children to school, if they act up again, that they will call 911. I don't agree with that. What I agree with is that what the school should do is sit down with the parent and call the parent in for a meeting just to discuss concerns that they may have. But them telling parents that the child should be medicated or that the child appears to be ADHD is something that they should not do. Now, I will say they need to have a meeting. They need to have it documented. And they could go ahead, and if they feel comfortable with, they can tell the parent what they think the next step should be. But they should not overstep the boundaries. They should not tell a parent that your child is ADHD or your child needs to be medicated. That never goes over well. What they need to do is leave it up to the medical professionals. My beliefs are, that goes in hand with the fact that my beliefs are that if you are a teacher, you are appointed to educate, not medicate. And I wholly do not agree with the 911 being called, because a child acting up in school with concerns as such is clearly letting you know this is not a troubled child, but this is a child that needs help. So the child needs help, not the police. And then at that point, you don't want the parents to begin to think, okay, is my child really a student here, or is my child a label? Which brings me to the next point, the Rights Law Way. It states that individuals with Disabilities Education Act expressly forbids school personnel from requiring a child to take or either needs medication. So that's really good to be in place. The third point I would like to discuss is a really big common myth. I'm quite sure a lot of us has heard a lot about it when it comes down to ADHD. Don't get that child that pop. Why you giving them candy? Don't do this because the sugar is making the child real hyper. Too much sugar. Take it from LifeScript Health Numerous studies shows that there's been many studies done trying to link the cause of ADHD from sugar and artificial sweeteners and hyperactivity. They haven't found any. Again, there have been numerous experiments. None have really been linked to the fact that sugar or artificial sweetness actually causes it. So I feel like what they should say is that you need to limit the amount of sugar, not that it actually causes ADHD in children. It's no more sugars in certain foods. It's just limited, and it'll keep the confusion down, because you know, it's like saying you have a perfectly, if you really think about it that way, it's like you have a perfectly normal child, and then you start putting sugar in your child's diet, and all of a sudden they have ADHD. It doesn't work like that. Research has shown that kids low in omega-3, on the other hand, are significantly more likely to be hyperactive, struggle with learning disorders, and display behavior problems. I feel may be caused in part by an imbalance of chemical messengers that affect behavior. Again, I'm not sure that it's the omega-3. I believe that once you get to this point that the omega-3 can help the child, but I believe it's a chemical imbalance. In conclusion, I would like to say that there are still many myths about ADHD. Parents, if you have a child with ADHD, or you consider getting your child tested and is diagnosed, you need to know your rights. Teachers need to teach and educate, not medicate. And ADHD people cannot be stopped by discipline. It is not a disciplinary problem. It is a disorder. Thank you.